Geek Squad. Geek Squad. Geek Squad. Geek Squad. Geek Squad.
No, after the first commercial break. A very good evening to you. It's 8 minutes after 7, and you're listening to Joy 99.7 FM. My name is Kobby Spiky Nkrumah, and on a Tuesday, I come here to present Tech, the show that's known as Geek Squad, or specifically Joy Geek Squad. Yes. Last week we talked about ChatGPT, AI's chatbots thingy, and all the buzz that's going on about it. We gave a bit of history around it. We tried to educate you on how to use it, what it does. And I tried to demonstrate with ChatGPT how to, prepare apim and kontomire. And as as weird as it was, it started teaching me how to make apim from Thailand. Whoever knew that we had apim in Thailand? But then, it's not the same as what we eat here, because that one is made from yeast and so imagine eating your kontomire with yeast. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Well, who's willing to try and give us feedback?
Our fellow co-presenter.
Nah, bro. Because what's funny was that yesterday I saw a Brazilian dish that was using cassava. They pounded the cassava. Boiled, pounded the whole thing, and then they put cheese in it. And I was like, what? They didn't pound it to the level that we pound it in fufu. It was kind of more like mashed cassava with cheese in the center. But hey, it is what it is. I wouldn't try that, to be fair. I
Oh yeah, it will probably be an acquired taste.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Michael could try that.
Michael, would you?
I will not confirm or deny that.
So yes, we're still on the ChatGPT, talk, because what happened while we were away, or while we were discussing it, OpenAI, creators of the infamous ChatGPT, the infamous DALL-E seems to have slowed down. People have stopped, playing with DALL-E because it seems that ChatGPT has more use than creating
images
art out of, images and art out of prompts.
Yeah.
And I saw some stuff from Midjourney today. For those who don't know, Midjourney, DALL-E are AI systems that generate art based on prompts. When we say prompts, words. So you create a phrase, you come up with an African man wearing batakari swimming, with a snorkel. It will generate something that looks like that for you. That's as if it has batakari in its database, which is very, very possible. And I saw today some images from Midjourney that looked so real.
Yeah. Yes. Midjourney has improved its algorithm and training to the point where now it can actually do fingers very well.
Yeah,
Initially,
not 6 and 7 fingers.
yeah, initially you used to have a problem with that, but now, so I think I even saw it on Twitter where someone was like, "Yo, now misinformation is going to be very, very difficult
It is going
to
to
deal
be,
with." And
because the image I saw today, I think one of the jobs that are going to suffer is stock photography.
yeah, I mean GPT-4, I don't know if we'll be able to get there today. I'm hoping it will be for a part 3. You understand this conversation? But GPT-4 actually listed. It was asked to create a list of jobs that it would take over. It made a list, and it's a very interesting list.
Would you mind sharing this list
I
somewhere later in the conversation?
I don't know. I feel like if we left that as a whole part 3,
Yeah.
but I think educators were part.
Wow.
Yes, educators were part of the people.
That would be a very interesting conversation to have. So,
yes.
for those who don't know what ChatGPT is, we're going to give you a quick recap. But if you want a full discussion of what happened last week on the show, you can find it on my Joy Online app or the Adom Online app or Spotify podcast. Just put in Joy Geek Squad, Apple Podcast or Google Podcast, or you can go on YouTube or Facebook. It's all available to watch and to listen. And yeah, when you're done catching up, you can also catch up on this, assuming you want to make sure that you have the background before this discussion. So, ChatGPT, real quick. What is ChatGPT, Winston?
ChatGPT is how do I simplify it? Because I
simplify it further.
yeah, there was because I came to a new realization but basically ChatGPT is an AI, not fully AI functional, but it's just a subset of a natural language machine learning program in an AI system that is able to generate new ideas based on the prompts you've given it, the input. So you would ask it to write a story about ABC and it will turn out something for you.
So I asked ChatGPT to tell me about itself.
Yeah, that should be fun.
And it says, sorry, it says it is a powerful language model that has the potential to revolutionize the way we interact with and utilize artificial intelligence in our daily lives. And that it has the ability to generate human-like text that allow it to assist with a wide range of tasks that involve language processing, making it a valuable tool for businesses, researchers, and individuals alike. It's a text-generating tool that generates human-like text based on prompts and information provided to it. It's an AI tool that uses natural language processing program and reinforcement learning with human feedback to work as a model, which is easy for all individuals.
If he hadn't read that second half, I'd have said to tell it to remove the marketing sales pitch and give us a straight answer.
You know why I locked up when you asked me to explain it? So I'm putting together an AI series for my YouTube channel. So if you guys are listening, sometime next week I'll start talking about AI in complete. But what I realized was that ChatGPT is just the vocal aspect of the AI we are trying to create. So it's only about natural language processing.
Yeah.
Its job is to only deal with language. Its job is not to deal with any other thing but language. So it may feel like an expert in or it may feel so amazing at generating new ideas because it understands the language. It has read more books than any of us would ever be able to. To be fair, I'm sure it has read more books than all the people alive in the world today have ever had the opportunity to read collectively. So because of that, it's able to sift through ideas in microseconds to generate outputs based on your prompt. So it was very interesting to find out that ChatGPT is only the beginning, because after it's able to release the prompt now, then definitely maybe GPT-5 will now have voice addition, where after you input it, it will actually read it out to you and stuff like that. Although I've seen certain people who are already playing with that with GPT-3 already. People have already started doing that.
We'll get to that. You heard the number GPT-3. There's a GPT-4. We'll get to that. So the other features of ChatGPT that you need to know, and I'm sure based on the description that it gave about itself, you probably heard it saying that human-like text. And we know this because if you ask AIs prior to ChatGPT questions, their responses are usually very robotic.
Yes.
You know, when you hear or you read something churned out by an AI, it's very robotic. But ChatGPT is quite human-like in its interaction with you. And as I just mentioned, interactivity, it's very interactive as well. So when you ask it a question, you can ask it follow-up questions. If you use Google Assistant, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You know, understanding
Context.
when you're having that discussion. And then it can translate text, because I had somebody ask me, does ChatGPT speak only English? Well, no. There are over 7,000 languages in the world. And I mean, granted, English is one of the most widely spoken ones, but you can use ChatGPT to translate text from one language to another. So if you want to translate something from English to what's one of the most Mongolian?
I thought you were going to say one of the most popular languages.
No, I want one of the most difficult, one of the most unpopular languages.
You know what's funny though? When GPT-4 was asked which jobs it will come for, translator or spat.
Oh yeah. I mean, if an AI model can, we've already seen what Google Translate is doing.
Yeah.
Now, this is very important. All this background is very important because we will touch on what Microsoft is doing with ChatGPT and a lot of the features they've introduced with, you know, their Office 365.
Yeah.
And that's getting ahead of ourselves. I'm so excited about that.
Yeah.
But there's one part about, anyway, let me not get ahead of myself. And also, ChatGPT can do summary. I mean, we've gotten to a point in our lives where we're so busy. Like, I Google something, I open the link, and I scroll first to see how much I have to read. And I'm like, nah, I can't do this right now.
You know, a ChatGPT bot in WhatsApp would be so cool, because the people who, when someone sends me a message and there's read more, I'm like, bro.
You know, I'm even concerned with, I leave the group, I come back and there's 1,000 something messages. I should have a ChatGPT, you know, read the whole group and summarize the discussion for me.
The day any chatbot can do that, then you know that they've hit, because there is no rhyme or reason in the group chat.
I will say this, and this is unfortunately marketing for Spiky, but I'm sure Telegram would actually do that before WhatsApp would do that anytime.
Why you say marketing for me? Like
you are the Telegram evangelist. You are the one who's always.
So now that we've given all that background in ChatGPT, should we go for the news or the commercial break and then come back and continue? So, Winston, take the news.
All right. So, let's make it quick. Now, the first one is that, you know, the SVB, you know, Silicon Valley Bank.
Yeah.
We talked about them last week.
Yeah.
It's gone defunct. Now, apparently, some of its employees are saying that remote work was a huge factor in the bank's collapse.
Why? They couldn't count money from home?
So what they are saying is that because of the culture of working remotely, workers were not as productive, and they were talking about how there was more cybersecurity issues. But other specialists in the field have said that nah guys, you guys are just making excuses right now. Next, Adobe has made an AI image generator. So similar to DALL-E and Midjourney, Adobe has started beta testing of Firefly, cool name. And now the interesting thing about Firefly is that the system is only trained on content that is licensed or out of copyright. I don't know if we'll get there, but it's a conversation that has been happening. And yeah, so I'm currently trying to get into the beta testing for Adobe Firefly. They're asking me, why do you want to use Adobe Firefly? And I haven't replied, so I'll probably ask ChatGPT.
What should you tell them?
What should I tell them?
Charlie, life is getting easier.
Yeah. Next, we are talking about layoffs. Amazon is cutting another 9,000 jobs. And these jobs are spread across Twitch and AWS. Now, keep in mind, last year to the beginning of this year, Amazon cut off 18,000 jobs already. But their CEO said that it's because of the uncertain economy, that's why they are cutting all the jobs. So they are looking to run a more tight ship. So 9,000 people have also lost their jobs.
Wow.
Now,
and it's no fault of ChatGPT.
Now to ChatGPT in the news. So ChatGPT has a feature embedded in it, which is the history tab, where basically everything you've asked ChatGPT, it will keep it in there. Now, for like a week or two ago, the history tab was off. It wasn't working.
Yeah, you mentioned that last time.
Yeah, last week. It wasn't working. Now, on Monday, it came back, but it came back with a new problem, which was that people were getting access to other people's history. They couldn't read what those people,
But
the
you'd
prompts,
see.
yeah, but they could see what other people had asked ChatGPT. So currently, as of today, it is off. Our producer was using it right now, and it is off. And he's worried about that because that means that when he finishes getting the problem, he has to copy everything and put it somewhere else because it doesn't save it anymore. But they're hoping to fix the bug and then get back the history tab. Next up, Google Bard. Now, Google Bard is Google's version of ChatGPT. Interesting news is that today, Google Bard is rolling out in the UK and the US.
Why there,
But are you drivers of the global conversation? No, sorry. So
It's a bad idea
why?
because
So it actually comes with an age limit.
why?
Yeah, so only people over 18 years are going to be allowed to use.
Why are you
Google
allowed
Bard.
to turn safe search off?
No, so the reason why Google Bard is doing that is that it's still kind of in beta, and now the interesting thing about Google Bard is that it will actively be able to gain information from Google Live.
Right.
So it's up to date to the second. But that comes with its different
Risks,
problems.
yeah.
And the fact that it is still learning and they've made it learn on such a large scale, their problem is that it may have some biases embedded in it because it's still being trained. Now, a natural language processor will take the input it gets, learn from it. So if it's getting input, I mean, I agree with you now. I think we should also add Africa. So everybody can have the conversation and then it will learn from all groups of people. But if it only learns from the white man,
Yeah, it's going to be biased.
yeah, it will feel
Very.
biased. But basically, they are hoping to keep the bias down. So that's why they are keeping it at 18 and they are going to periodically retrain it. And yeah. Final news. Now, this one is very interesting and I actually want everybody's thoughts on this. Now, if anybody knows the Internet Archive, now the Internet Archive is defending its digital library in court today.
Wow.
Yes. So now book publishers and the Internet Archive are currently engrossed in a legal battle. So some publishers are saying that the Internet Archive, which is used in libraries across the world, is breaching some copyright laws using its controlled digital lending system. Now, the controlled digital lending system is basically a setup where if you have a book, let's say you have a Charles Dickens book in the library, they have digitized it so that people can have access to it online. However, there's an added feature in there where if the library in question has only one copy of that book, it only gets one digital version of that book. So when someone borrows it, it feels like they've borrowed the real thing and it's not available to anybody else. Now, this was fine with publishers, but during COVID, they changed the rules because people are not getting access to libraries. So what happened was that they gave free access to all these books for 2 weeks. So regardless of whether the library had only one of that book, 10 people could borrow the book at the same time, but they had a 2-week use of it. And now some of the publishers are saying that that is against their copyright laws. But Internet Archive is also saying no. So they are currently battling in a very gray area of copyright rules today. So what do you guys think?
ChatGPT. Because it's very interesting how the digital world is really pushing us to change a lot of our laws.
Yes.
You know, to unlearn a lot of things and then relearn, and basically we're just going to have to evolve with the tech world that we find ourselves in.
Yes.
Very, very interesting. But we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to teach you how to use ChatGPT.
If home is where the heart is, then let's go home, shall we? Let's go where the entertainment is, where the passion is, where the laughter is, and sometimes even the tears too. Let's go where we feel safe enough to share our opinions,
and send tweets,
where we do that embarrassing little dance to our favorite song. Let's go home where the love, the care, and the joy live.
There's no place like home. Connect your home to super fast internet with affordable data bundles from MTN Home. Visit broadband.mtn.com.gh or your My MTN app to sign up today. MTN.
Geek Squad.
And we're back. So if you didn't know, this is Joy Geek Squad on Joy 99.7 FM. Show that airs every Tuesday, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. And we talk about tech. Today we're talking about ChatGPT. We've given you the history. We've given you, some applications of ChatGPT. In fact, let me just talk about some of the industries that you can use ChatGPT besides doing your homework. For those who've been using ChatGPT for your homework, I see you in the WhatsApp messages. Yes, you can send us a WhatsApp 055 quadruple 1997 055 11 11 997 055 997. How do you use ChatGPT? I'm about to tell you some of the ways you can use it, but I want to know from you as well, how do you use it? So number one, content creation. I mean, Winston, you can use it to write your script for a video, anything you're going to shoot.
Yeah, I'm actually considering using it because typically I do things off the dome, like a free battle rap freestyler. We out here killing it. You know what I mean? But yeah, I've actually asked it to write a script for me. I'm using it to write a certain script, and it's been very interesting. You can ask it to write the script in the format where typical scripts are going to be, and to do all the adjustments and everything for it. It's absolutely fantastic.
I asked it to do a presentation for me, and I needed a product matrix, and it actually gave me all the the plots for the chart I was going to do with that. That was very interesting. And he actually even labeled the slides. Slide 1, introduction. Slide 2, this. Slide 3, that. It did everything, and even showed me where I was going to put a product matrix. Like, this is interesting. So yeah, you could use that for content creation, for presentation, for your essay, for school, or even work presentation. You can see, you don't just take the thing and then just use it raw like that.
Something I'm thinking.
What are you thinking?
I'm thinking I'll pay for GPT-4 and let it write a presidential manifesto.
Yeah, and then we can start our political party.
I think it would be very interesting.
What would we call it?
I don't know, but I just want to hear what it has to say.
GPT.
Yeah, GPT. That's what we're going to call it. The geeks, right? Political techies.
Where's the
sense,
party?
but geek, what's that? You also call it GPT. So yeah, you can also use it. Listen, last week we talked about how chatbots existed in the customer service industry. Imagine a customer service industry powered by ChatGPT, where you've trained it to understand your product, and when you have people reaching out for problems, imagine a telco's customer care line, which a lot of us have issues with, having to answer because they just read from pre-answered questions. Now a ChatGPT model for your business that has been trained on all the issues that have probably come up because you've gathered the data. Wink, wink. For those who've not been gathering data, you need that. And anytime somebody asks it a question, it can have a conversation with them and help them solve their problems. Summary, summarizing the steps in which to achieve that solution. So yes, customer service, your jobs.
So that means customer service, your jobs are going. Because when GPT, because there's a thing people also need to know. If you want to go into the back end of the GPT-3 and GPT-4, they give you access. You pay for the tokens and everything. You can actually build your own unique version of ChatGPT. So if, let's say, for instance, MTN, our sponsor for the show, if they decide that, all our company policies with respect to customer relations and problems that customers typically ask, and I mean, they tell you that they record some of this thing, so maybe they've had it all transcribed, the audio to text, and they fed it into a GPT-4 model, and they can create the ultimate customer service representative that will have that, and that won't be like, let me go and ask it's not going to doing it. Any question you ask within the scope of what it knows, it would give you a very solid answer. And if it doesn't know, if they build it well enough, it could piggy off into.
You know, I was just about to say it. It
Yeah.
could actually go on the web and find
that
solutions and then
for you.
suggest that.
That would
That could be very
amazing.
interesting.
Yeah.
And yes, ChatGPT can also conduct interviews. So you want to recruit somebody, ChatGPT can ask them questions for you. If he had mom, because it'll be very specific to the area.
Yeah.
But then will it be humane? You know, will it have that human touch?
And that's why I think Google Bard will beat it.
Yeah.
Because Google has focused so much of their infrastructure on getting the human essence in the Google Assistant. To the point where I've forgotten what that was called, where they built a voice engine that could make orders for you, could book and it could even, the voice this could do okay, like it could do human nuance conversation. So I think Google Bard might be, Charlie, they should run it to Africa and let me try and get
Yeah. And if you're a personal assistant, either you could use ChatGPT or ChatGPT could be replacing
take your
you.
job.
Yes, because if a ChatGPT, somebody manages to turn it into a virtual assistant for themselves, it could actually do a lot of things for them. So you can have a virtual assistant now, plan your schedule, set appointments and reminders. After all, isn't that what your PA does?
Mm-hmm.
So having that as a virtual assistant on your phone, which is always in your pocket, and all you have to do is give it a name.
So imagine, so I know we're talking about GPT, but we're talking about all natural language processors in general. Imagine Bard, which Google has other AI that can book flights and everything. That means your personal assistant, so the position of executive assistant is gone.
Is about going.
It's gone, because here's a situation where when I wake up in the morning, what is my itinerary for the day? Shows up on my phone. Have you booked the flight? Booked.
It gives you all
using
the
Google
documents.
Flights. It's in your email.
Even your hotel.
Yeah, everything is just in your email. And if
there's no I forgot.
there's how
And it has access to all the information.
the only problem,
And even your emails.
the only problem is that if for some reason the servers go off,
Your body go by you.
you make hot.
Imagine showing up to the airport, you know. I
Comfortable.
can imagine Michael's waltz about to check in, and then he presents his passport, and they're like, "You did what?" Like,
On what flights?
I believe I have booked a flight. Hold on, let me ask my assistant. Hey, Jarvis.
Offline.
Offline, no internet. No, he'd be like,
Refresh.
Nana Kwame, please, I need to hire you again. Okay, so yeah. If you're in a third world country where the internet is quite unreliable, this could be a risk.
Yeah.
If you're thinking of firing up your personal assistant, make sure that your internet is always on. And yeah, so it can also give you straightforward answers because it can comprehend and respond to various language inputs, and it can help you find uncluttered answers to your questions, which is something we face a lot of times doing a Google search. So I was helping a friend with a branding prism question for an assignment, and they've been told not to use ChatGPT. So she fell on Spiky GPT. And I have to help with this project. And halfway I give up. I'm like, you know what? I'm not doing this. I'm not getting paid for this, so I'm not going to do it. And I went to try to do the assignment with ChatGPT, and boy, oh boy, all the hours spent Googling was reduced to seconds. I got all the answers I was looking for. I didn't share it though because we were told to not use ChatGPT.
I mean, do they have the infrastructure to detect that you use ChatGPT?
Which is where we're going to get to somewhere in this conversation.
But another thing about Google Bard is that it gives you references and reference links, live reference links. ChatGPT doesn't do that. So which is why
Bing does that.
Yeah, which is why you need to cross-check whatever is said.
So yeah, moving on from that, if you're a digital marketer and you don't use ChatGPT, ChatGPT could be used by the people who employ you. Yeah, so ChatGPT can be used to create engaging and unique content for the ads of any company, leading to higher conversion rates and customer interaction. And I know this because I tried it and it works. Because I asked it specifically for, I use certain prompts for a certain brand within a certain category, trying to generate content around that.
Okay.
And somewhere along the lines of what I was thinking about was exactly what it gave me with more detail. Like, no, my fear right now is that our brain is going to become very, very dull.
Which is something I was talking to Michael about right outside before we started the show. AI dependency, but we've not gotten there yet.
We'll get there.
So now let's talk about how people can use ChatGPT to make their daily work, schoolwork, everything easy. Michael, what do you do in a day?
Aside wake up and eat, I don't have a set schedule.
So how would you use ChatGPT in your wake up and eat schedule? What to eat?
Literally that. It's like
Yeah.
I can't really think of anything else I could ask ChatGPT.
You
like,
know,
what
this is
could I
actually
eat
a very
today?
good idea. I know so many people who struggle with figuring out what to eat. I
But
think people should start asking ChatGPT
ChatGPT. Well, yeah, I don't actually no, but it doesn't keep history anymore.
for now.
Yeah,
But
but
it could.
Well, it could. Then like, okay.
So pay and build your own menu recommending ChatGPT bot.
Please, I'm paying for Dropbox. I'm not paying for this one too.
So Winston,
Yeah.
what do you use? What do you do in a day?
Do a lot of stuff. Do a lot of reading.
You do basically Winstoning.
Yeah, just entering random rabbit holes of information. It's always very
Do the
interesting.
rabbit holes also include your random naps for enjoyment?
So I've actually tamed my random naps. So, and I've actually understood why I nap so easily. That's a totally different conversation.
So what what would you use ChatGPT for?
What I use ChatGPT for? Well, I use ChatGPT for idea generation, typically. I mean, I have ideas, but sometimes, this is very interesting. So I have ideas, but I do not know how to articulate those ideas. I know what is in my mind. I can see it in my mind, but I don't know how to put it into words. So I just describe to ChatGPT what's in my mind, and I tell it based on whatever. Maybe if I want to create a game, I have the idea in my mind. I don't know how to say it. I describe what the game, and I say this is a game, blah blah blah, and I tell it. And it's done this twice for me, where it churned out something very very good.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I like that. I'm not going to ask myself that question. I'm going to read some WhatsApp messages before we continue. We'll tell you about ways that you could use ChatGPT. So Prince Efa from Talk Archive. Hi, Prince. Okay, so you did send a message before that. He was asking regarding ChatGPT. I agree, maybe all fun, but this is the same tech bigwigs in the tech world like Elon Musk who've warned. Okay, so yeah, we read this last week. We'll be expecting you to tell us about the opportunities and threats ChatGPT brings, as Sam Altman, the OpenAI boss, has bemoaned some scary aspects of artificial intelligence. Yes, thank you very much. We will be talking about that. Try cocoyam leaf stew.
With banana.
Yeah. Banana dish in Ghana. That's a plantain, a variety of banana. Okay, so yeah, I get you. You're talking about the prompts I was using to find out that PIM. Can ChatGPT help a visually impaired person? Well, I believe it can.
Yes, when it's actually moved from just text generation to actually voice output.
But you can even take advantage of a computer's current accessibility settings
For
and
it to
let
read,
out
yeah,
whatever you're typing in there. So one quick way of doing my assignment so far, ChatGPT. That is definitely coming from Douglas. So which version are we to expect or looking for? GPT. You're still talking about the GPT disk system. It has nothing to do with ChatGPT, Douglas. We will talk about that someday. Elliot says, hello Spiky, I love ChatGPT because I use it for my project work and it works perfectly. I'm a student of UCC, the power of tech. Thanks to you guys, Elliot. Thanks to you too for that message.
I really
question.
I really hope his lecturers aren't listening to it.
You know what's very interesting? Like just 3 days ago,
Right.
in a group I'm in, I was telling the guys in the group that I would really love to have been in my final year right now because my thesis would have been on ChatGPT.
It would have.
And I would have asked ChatGPT to write this thesis on itself. It would
As
have
I
been
asked it to tell me about it. So.
yeah, it would have been amazing.
So, okay. Let's move on. So, Ezzy says, our traffic lights do not run on AI. I know, right? It's a simple algorithm in other places like China. It's been in use for a while now. a while now, I think the conversation is interesting. Yes, indeed it is. GPT will not be taking any job anytime soon. Someday in the future, maybe. But in my use of these tools, I found that referencing sucks and it doesn't get the technicalities. It's why Google has been careful with Lambda and kept it in beta for a while now. This is true.
Today.
At the very core, I think it's an amazing brainstorming and an idea generation tool for quickly building the rough stuff. But the true genius is the one who takes these ideas and turns them into complete work. Know your stuff, else you'll find yourself saying a lot of high-sounding nonsense. Yes, Ezzy, very, very true. Indeed, when it comes to ChatGPT, if you don't know your stuff and you go ask it certain questions, you can end up, making a big fool out of yourself.
Hey.
Good evening. Can you prepare a lesson plan for a teacher? That's from Gloria. I think you should try that, Gloria.
I think you can prepare a whole curriculum.
Well, for
Yes.
which
You need to append what age range, what you add all the clauses that you require.
but don't forget, curriculums differ from
across the
across the world. So there's a lot of prompts. There's a lot of things that you might probably have to ask.
add
Well, like as he also mentioned, you do need to know your stuff.
Which-
Because imagine asking it, you don't know how to cook. And I asked it about the apiment contombre. You go and do the yeast.
you know what's interesting that as he talks about. So last year when we talked about DALI, I actually wrote a whole article on LinkedIn where I was talking about how the new job would be the person, the prompter.
Yeah.
And I actually described the job and everything. Funny enough, in January, that job existed. It's called a prompt engineer. And that person, the job that I saw, I was like, why didn't I take what I said randomly seriously? Because this person is making $250,000 a year. And his job, based on what I had said and based on what the job was asking, their job is to feed in the right information into these AI, get the best output. So they'll listen to what the client has to say, feed it into the AI, and be able to identify that this is right, this is right, this is wrong, and put it together into a whole. You've taken the jobs, that prompt engineer has taken the jobs of like 300 people in the company.
Yeah, true.
Because
Because research, copywriter,
writing,
everything.
done zone.
So here's the thing. Let's just say before it gets to the point where that person takes all those people's jobs, it's not you, the person whose job it was, you're going to be replaced by somebody who knows how to use AI to do that job.
Yes.
So let's say a copywriter, I would hire a copywriter who knows how to use AI to generate a copy faster.
Yeah.
Because that would reduce our turnaround time and the content will be ready for the client as quickly as possible versus because putting that on one person's head. That would be a lot of
what
work.
makes it even more interesting is that you will not need a team of copywriters anymore to brainstorm. Because when it comes to ChatGPT, you ask it this question, you click. I don't like this
a
one.
few blinks.
You like regenerate response. The whole ChatGPT is the team. So it's like, if you get I noticed this a lot when I'm using Midjourney and DALI, and I was like, an artist will be able to use this better. Someone who studied art in school will be able to use it better because they know what cubism is, they know what a Rembrandt is, they know they know the technical terms of art. So I think that's one of the reasons why DALI and Midjourney are not that popular, because it's such a niche part of the world. Like creating art is very, very technical. So if you don't know, like for instance, you have to add that it should be 4K, it should be
because I saw a prompt today on Midjourney where the person added focal length, specific camera, added a focal length, and described the way the picture should look so much that it came out looking exactly
the
how
way. So that's what a
have.
prompt engineer is. He knows how to ask these questions.
And I tried that with DALI today, and I won't lie, I asked it for I'll show you what the outcome of
But
the
I have to say this, but I think Midjourney is better than DALI.
Well, yeah, I think it is too.
Yeah.
So, ways to use ChatGPT for people who beyond just using it for your assignments. And Samak from Zuarungu and Nangodi says, ask ChatGPT this question for me. What will be the inflation rate in Ghana in 2024 and 2025? Samak, just go on chat.openai.com, create an account and ask it yourself.
To be fair, the ChatGPT 3 will not do a good job of answering that question. GPT 4, which is current and up to date, might have a better response because ChatGPT 3, the free one, its information is only up to 2021.
Right.
Yes. So
I can read this first answer now. As an AI language model, I don't have access to future information and cannot predict the exact inflation rate for Ghana in 2024.
exactly.
And there's a rest that more explaining why I can't do that. But yeah,
So basically, it means
for
I
now,
can't
no.
do it.
It's not that it can't do it because, like I said, it's a language processor, and a GPT is basically just generating new information based on things it's heard. So it's not an expert in the field of economics. It has just read enough. Yeah, it's just read enough economics books to know that these are the principles of economics.
Speaking of which, didn't ChatGPT take certain exams?
Yeah, GPT-4 took some bar exams and some other medical exams, and they if you go to the GPT-4 website, there's a comparison between GPT-3 score and GPT-4, and like GPT-4 was always in the 90th percentile.
Wow,
For many of these tasks.
that's interesting. Well, so if you're looking to do your assignments, Stephen Deborah says Turnitin is able to detect those who use ChatGPT for assignments, but I've also found a way to beat their own system. Simple cry. Hey, so when the hunter learns to shoot without missing, the birds will learn to fly without perching, isn't it? Interesting. But here's the thing too. I've seen a lot of plagiarism checking tools that are new ones that are AI based. So people just copy them, paste them there, and then just use it to rewrite it.
People
Or
always
tell ChatGPT to respond in a way that can't be detected by Turnitin.
which is a very important part on the techniques for using ChatGPT. So ChatGPT think about ChatGPT this way. Anybody who's going to think about it as a 5-year-old with the knowledge of the whole world, but it's still a 5-year-old. 5-year-olds, you have to be like, do this. You have to break down your order to a 5-year-old. Other than that, it will get lost in translation. You said one thing and you didn't dial it in properly, so it went to do something totally different.
I think the APIM example
Exactly.
is very, very accurate.
Yeah.
Because that's what it knows for APIM.
Yeah, that's probably the first hit
Yeah.
on APIM for it. And it's like, okay, APIM, okay, I'll probably go with this.
Yeah, but if it was older, it would have known that. Probably checked my IP, know that I'm coming from Ghana, and then know that once I'm asking for APIM, maybe I'm probably talking about the one in Ghana, not in Thailand. Okay, so we're talking about the things that you can use, ways that you could use ChatGPT to make your daily work easy. And one thing I've noticed is a lot of people don't know how to write emails. They open an email and they stay there for a long time. Prof, shout outs to you. I will post a screenshot of your first email. Yeah, it can be tough for people to type emails. And also, if you work in one industry and you switch, the culture in different workplaces differ.
Yeah.
In some workplaces, they're more relaxed, and some they're very, very formal. So you can use ChatGPT to draft your emails. And there's so many other things like listing, reminders, like we mentioned, all these things you can use ChatGPT for. Besides assignment, I must keep reiterating, because so far I think that's what a lot of people use it for. Assignments and presentations and all that. And yeah, we've talked about content generation, but there's something I saw online, applications for data scientists.
Yeah.
With the help of ChatGPT and its APIs, data scientists can write code and do sentiment analysis, language translation, text categorizations, and a lot of other things.
Yeah.
This is big.
Yeah, especially for data scientists that want to be in companies that deal with marketing specifically, because sentiment analysis is more of a marketing type thing. And I mean, you can have ChatGPT create easy. So because I learned data analysis and stuff like that, it takes you a long time to properly transform words into a sentiment analysis. Because let's say, for instance, you posted a tweet. If you posted a tweet and you put a poll there, that's constrained. There's yes, there's no, there's maybe. It's stuck to it. But if you are scouring the internet, right, and let's say, for instance, you are Twitter and you're looking for sentiment analysis on how Twitter is right now, what will happen is that in the past, the data science team will have to go through, sift through all the tweets about Twitter, and then they have to categorize them. But these categorizations will be based on what the team has agreed on. So if Spiky says that, oh, Twitter there is cool, and I'm like, Twitter is amazing, and Michael is like, Twitter is great, the team will have to agree on the level of the temperature of these three things that I've said. Is yours yes? And his mind is very yes. And his is definitely no. So they have to do all of that. But with a natural language processing algorithm, it can do all of that because it understands context. It will do all of that for you. You just put in all the tweets about Twitter and then to just categorize them based on your parameters. So it saves hours of work.
Right. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're still talking about ChatGPT, and yeah, I think we're going to have to deal with some of the benefits and the disadvantages before we let our boat sail. We'll be right back.
If home is where the heart is, then let's go home, shall we? Let's go where the entertainment is, where the passion is, where the laughter is, and sometimes even the tears too. Let's go where we feel safe enough to share our opinions,
And send tweets.
where we do that embarrassing little dance to our favorite song. Let's go home where the love, the care, and the joy live.
There's no place like home. Connect your home to super fast internet with affordable data bundles from MTN Home. Visit broadband.mtn.com.gh or your My MTN app to sign up today. MTN.
And we're back. So, if you probably tried using ChatGPT and you're told it's at capacity, it means that
Modoso.
yeah, too
Pretty
many
much.
people using it right now. But then there are alternatives, right?
Yeah,
Winston, have you used any alternative to ChatGPT?
I have not.
So
I'm waiting for bad.
Yeah, Winston has been mentioning Google Bard since the show began.
Yes.
Google Bard, not BAD, BARD. That's Google's version of ChatGPT, or its competition or competitor to ChatGPT. It's also powered by Lambda, which, as he mentioned, if you don't know about it, you should Google it. It's going to be Google's AI chatbot. There's also ChatSonic, which is essentially ChatGPT, but as they describe it, with superpowers. And then there's Jasper Chat, which is based on GPT 3.5 and is built for businesses, other marketing, advertising, sales, and more features. And you have Character AI, which is an upcoming chatbot application where a user can choose from various personalities, as Winston mentioned last week.
Our producer says he uses Text Cortex.
Shall somebody should do ChatGPT based on a lot of Ghanaian/African data, because I feel that's one way that we can.
It would be interesting to do. There are ways to do it. I have a friend who actually did create his own version of ChatGPT like a week ago. Okay, we can work on that.
Crispy, our other producer, just sent me his question. So Crispy asked about Appim from ChatGPT, and it says a Ghanaian snack made from rice flour, sugar, salt, yeast, and coconut milk. It's usually served with coconut sauce or jam. Yeah, Bing is based on ChatGPT.
GPT-4. But first off, I'm trying to figure out what.
No, and this time it didn't say it was Thai. It was not.
It says a Ghanaian snack.
Ghanaian.
First off, that's it.
I've never tasted this Appim before.
No, like the thing that is saying when it started, I was like, "Hey, is this a baby biscuits?" Then we were going, and I was like, "Yo, what are we talking
with coconut sauce?"
Yeah, like what
jam?
have you got it to?
Wow. Like
Okay.
wow. Anybody, listen, if you're listening to us and you've tried this version of APIM or APEM or I don't know how to pronounce this or I don't know what it tastes like, please send us a message, let us know, and invite us to come and try it. I would really want to see what it is like. So, yeah, and then a friend of mine, Farid, tried asking how many languages are spoken in Ghana. And ChatGPT gave an answer. He asked it if it was sure, and it came back and changed it. I'm looking for the answers it gave. So which really buttresses Ezzy's point about you needing to know
Know your stuff.
Yeah, it was really not sure.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people who code, and Charlie, anytime they ask it for help, they're like, you know what, I'll do it. Michael had this problem last week where he asked it to help me, and I was like, you know what, I'll do this myself.
Yeah, but the risks are too much. If you don't know the programming language you're dealing with, actually, it's not just with programming. It has to do with a lot of technical things. It doesn't know enough.
So now I'm going to give one technique because the show is about to end. One technique that is extremely beneficial when you're using ChatGPT. Now, Michael said that it's not an expert, but because it's a language module, you can say this. So whatever field it is. So for instance, if I was asking it to write code for me, I would say, you are an expert in whatever field of code, or you are an expert copywriter, you are an expert researcher. So it gives the code context. So it narrows it down to that field, all the language information in that field. Then you ask it what you want. It has worked wonders for me. I've actually compared code. I asked ChatGPT to just build a ride-hailing app, a certain aspect of a ride-hailing app for me, and it wrote the code. And because I know some Python, I could read it. I was like, okay. But then I asked it that you are an expert at Python, and the code was significantly different, significantly longer. And I could tell that putting that context. So anyone listening, if you're using ChatGPT, always try to tell ChatGPT that
How it should perceive itself.
How it should perceive itself before it does the work. And also another technique is don't be afraid to break up the conversation. It understands context. So if you ask it something, don't ask it the whole thing in one prompt. You will confuse it. Like I said, it's a 5-year-old. Have you tried to send a 5-year-old to go and buy this, and after that go and buy this, and then you have this change, and then you don't do that. You take it one step at a time. So that's another way that has helped me using ChatGPT. Take the prompts one at a time. Don't be afraid to learn. I'm sorry, the chat history is not there. So if I do, I'm sharp, then copy it and then bounce. But yeah, those are some of the techniques I use.
Yep. So those are some of the techniques. We will be discussing some other things around ChatGPT as we go on with Geek Squad. I don't know if we're going to have a part 3. That'll be because there's GPT-4, and I really wanted to talk about Office Copilot. So yeah, if you haven't heard, Microsoft Office 365 just announced its new version powered by AI.
Yeah.
So just the gist, now you can let your AI join a meeting on your behalf. It will listen to all that was discussed and summarize for you.
Oh, and just before we leave, there's one other job that ChatGPT 4 said is coming for, and that is news reporter.
And on that bombshell, we're going to hand over to Maxwell with the news. My name is Kobby Spiky Nkrumah, at The Real Spiky, at Mr. Watcher, at Majestic. You can find us on Twitter, which the hashtag Joy Geek Squad. Yeah, somebody says the must have part 3 and part 4. Don't worry, we'll talk to our producer. Shout out to our producers, Crispy and Prince Safo. Catch you later on the next one, next week. Peace.